Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Oh, not able to connect. Don't know. You can you can try to get it on your phones. We are on Canto 8, Chapter 12. Before that, we'll do the Mangalacharan. You can get that also from Vedapes if you don't know. It's in the introduction section of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnupadaya, Krishna Presthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. This is Canto 8, Chapter 12, titled The Mohini Murti Incarnation Bewilders Lord Shiva. So yesterday we saw how Lord Shiva along with his wife Parvati and all his associates came to meet Krishna. And then offered some wonderful prayers to Krishna. But then in this section we have a request that we'll see from Lord Shiva and what the consequences of such a request is. It says, Krishne swadamo pagate dharma jnanadi bisaha kalau nashta drishamesha puranarko dunodita. So Krishne swadamo pagate, he went to his own abode, Krishna, and then along with him dharma and jnana also went. So this was one of the questions that the sages asked in Naimisharanya in the beginning, right? Now that Krishna is gone, whom should we take shelter of? So the reply was, Kalau nashta drishamesha puranarko dunodira. In order to take away the darkness of Kali Yuga, the Purana as brilliant as the sun has arisen, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the literary incarnation of Krishna himself. It's non-different from Krishna. And each canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to a limb of Krishna. So the first two cantos are considered as lotus feet. Third and fourth are his thighs. Fifth is his navel. Sixth is his chest. Seventh and eighth are his arms. Ninth is his neck. 10th is his lotus face. 11th is his forehead. And then 12th is his crown. So like that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself in the literary incarnation. And we are in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's pretty high up. When we are taking darshan of Krishna, where do we start taking darshan of Krishna from? From his lotus feet, right? So the first two cantos are considered his lotus feet. And in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada gives us some hints on how we can actually progress through the darshan of Sri Krishna via the medium of Srimad Bhagavatam. And which is, I wanted to read this because this is connected to the section that we're reading today, so that we understand what we are getting into before we get into the section that we're going to get into. So I'm just going to, this is 2 to 12. I'm just going to read a section of the purport that Srila Prabhupada writes before we get into the section that we are going to read. It's somewhere in the middle of the second paragraph, I feel. Srila Prabhupada says, the grossest type of anartha which binds the conditioned soul in material existence is sex desire. And this sex desire gradually develops in the union of male and female. When the male and female are united, the sex desire is further aggravated by the accumulation of buildings, children, friends, relatives, and wealth. This is a verse that Srila Prabhupada is paraphrasing from Rishabdev. When all these are required, the conditioned soul becomes overwhelmed by such entanglements and the false sense of egoism or the sense of myself and mine. This last line we know. This is a famous line. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti. This feeling of I and mine become prominent. And the sex desire expands to various political, social, altruistic, philanthropic, and many other unwanted engagements. So basically Prabhupada's point here is the entire material existence is because of sex desire. And this is such a strong desire that's what keeps binding us. As a result of it, so many things expand. On one level, it's the grossest desire. But Prabhupada says, Bhakti Yoga leads to the gradual evaporation of sex desire, which is summarized in 3 headings. Profit, adoration, and distinction. Ultimately, this is what it moves on to. Labh, Man, and Pratishta. Profit, adoration, and distinction. All conditioned souls are mad after these different forms of sex desire, and one shall see for himself how much he has been freed from such material hankerings based primarily on sex desire. This is easy, Prabhupada is saying. As a person feels his hunger satisfied after eating each morsel of foodstuff, he must similarly be able to see the degree with which he has been freed from sex desire. Okay, and he writes more, just the word sex desire. I think Prabhupada repeats about 15 times in this purport. But the section that I wanted to focus on is the next paragraph. So purification means getting free gradually from sex desire, and this is attained by meditation on the personality of the person of the Lord as described herein. beginning from the feet. This is what Srila Prabhupada says, beginning from the feet. One should not try to go upwards artificially without seeing for himself how much he has been released from the sex desire. The smiling face of the Lord is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and there are many upstarts who at once try to begin with the 10th canto, and especially with the 5 chapters which delineate the Rasa Leela of the Lord. So Prabhupada is warning us what will happen if we go without to the upper limbs of the Lord if we are not in control of our gross sexual desires. And therefore, Prabhupada says, our first meditation has to be on the lotus feet of the Lord. And in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the first 2 cantos of the Lord. Because we immediately know from the 3rd canto, what do we read in the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam? We've come to the 8th canto. What's explained in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? Grihastha, and specifically vivid details of Grihastha, right? If we are not really in control of our gross sexual desires, we might be very agitated when we are reading such topics. And today, we are reading how Lord Shiva is going to be bewildered by Mohini Murti. So the warning has been declared. So when we are reading this, be present at your own risk, is what I'm saying. So I don't know how we do this. Usually we read the purports one by one, but you all have phones, then we can still do it. We have to start from text 12 and see what Lord Shiva's request to Lord Vishnu is. Can we try? Whoever has the phones can keep moving. So we have to do text 12 through 34 today. And our focus verse is 34. Can you? Yeah, my Lord, I've seen all kinds of incarnations.
Okay. Text 12. My Lord, I have seen all kind of incarnation you have exhibited by your transcendental qualities. And now that you have appeared as a beautiful young woman, I wish to see that form of your Lordship.
Yeah, which is the incarnation that Lord Shiva is speaking about? Mohini Murti. And this is Lord Shiva who is described, I was saying, in practically every canto that we have read so far. There is not one personality, I think, apart from Krishna, who is described in every canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, till the 8th canto at least, other than Lord Shiva. And he's been described. And just before this, one of the most famous pastime of the Lord that is described across the Puranas was just described in Srimad Bhagavatam, which was the churning of the milk ocean, right? And what happened first when the milk ocean was churned? The first thing that came out was the poison, right? And this was no ordinary poison. This was the most deadliest poison that we've ever seen, which is the hala. And then Lord Shiva was so merciful that he took the poison himself to save everybody. Yeah? And the Bhagavatam describes the wonderful quality of Lord Shiva, right? It says, Tapyante lokatapena sadava prayaso jana paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya kilamatmana. It says, it is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is present in everyone's heart. He voluntarily took it. He didn't have to take it. And he took poison for the welfare of everybody. And this is what happened. But then Lord Shiva went ahead and started doing his own business after he drank the poison. He didn't wait to see what was happening. And he missed the incarnation of Mohini Murti, which the Lord took after everything else came about, and at the last the nectar came about. So he wanted to see the incarnation of the Lord that he had missed. Okay, let's continue. 13.
My lord, we have come here desiring to see that form of your lordship which you showed to the demons to captivate them completely in this way. Enable the demigods to drink nectar. I am very eager to see that form.
Yeah. So Lord Shiva was thinking, when Mohini Murti appeared, the demons were only bewildered. The demigods were not bewildered. Right? And Lord Shiva is, of course, even greater than the demigods. And he thought, this is not something that I'm venturing into that will actually put me in trouble. So the demigods were able to not get bewildered, therefore it's safe for me to request the Lord to show me this incarnation. So continue.
Shukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Vishnu was thus requested by Lord Shiva, who carries a trident in his hand, he smiled with gravity and replied to Lord Shiva as follows.
Yeah, the Lord knows what's going to happen. So he is smiling with gravity. Said, please.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, when the demons took away the jug of nectar, I assumed the form of a beautiful woman to bewilder them by directly cheating them, and thus to act in the interest of the demigods.
O best of the demigods, I shall now show you my form that is very much appreciated by those who are lusty. Since you want to see that form, I shall reveal it in your presence.
Yeah. So what is lust? The Lord is saying Shiva is not really influenced by lust, right? So what is lust? Yeah, for ourselves, right? The desire for self-enjoyment, gratification, sense gratification is lust. And Lord Shiva has Mother Parvati as his wife, who is the incarnation of Maya, the modes of material nature that actually binds us in this world. This is why we get attached. And therefore the Gita says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pachayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama. This is how lust develops, by our constant meditation on the senses, on the object of the senses. Then we start getting attached, and then it turns into lust, and the entire cycle follows. But Lord Shiva has Mother Parvati by his side and still not affected by it. So the Lord is saying, okay, I'll show you this form, and I'll reveal it in your presence. Let's continue.
Shukadeva Goswami continued, after speaking in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu immediately disappeared, and Lord Shiva remained there with Uma, looking for him all around with moving eyes.
Yeah. This is happening after the churning of the milk ocean, where during the churning of the milk ocean, the Lord took the form of Mohini Murti, but Lord Shiva couldn't see it. So then now he wants to see the incarnation of the Lord.
Text 18. Thereafter, in a nice forest nearby, full of trees with reddish-pink leaves and varieties of flowers, Lord Shiva saw a beautiful woman playing with a ball. Her hips were covered with a shining sari and ornamented with a belt.
Text 19. Because the ball was falling down and bouncing up as she played with it. As she played with it, her breasts trembled, and because of the weight of her breasts and her heavy flower garlands, her waist appeared to be all but breaking at every step. As her two soft feet, which were reddish like coral, moved here and there.
Text 20. The woman's face was decorated by broad, beautiful, restless eyes, which moved as the ball bounced here and there from her hand. The two beautiful, brilliant earrings on her ears decorated her shining face, shining cheeks like bluish reflections, and the hair scattered on her face made her even more beautiful to see.
Text 21. As she played with the ball, the sari covering her body became loose, and her hair scattered. She tried to bind her hair with her beautiful left hand. At the same time, she played with the ball by striking it with her right hand. This was so attractive that the Supreme Lord, by his internal potency, in this way captivated everyone.
While Lord Shiva observed the beautiful woman playing with the ball, she sometimes glanced at him and slightly smiled in bashfulness. As he looked at the beautiful woman and she watched him, he forgot both himself and Uma, his most beautiful wife, as well as his associates nearby.
Yeah, this is what happened. He had his wife nearby, Sati, and all his associates. But he couldn't distinguish that this was Mohini Murti. Right? He had just requested and it said Krishna vanished and appeared. But then it was so bewildering for him looking at the beauty of Mohini Murti that he forgot everything. Like he lost all sense of the surroundings and everything, and he was like captured by the beauty of the Lord. Continue.
When the ball leaped from her hand and fell at a distance, the woman began to follow it, but as Lord Shiva observed these activities, a breeze suddenly blew away the fine dress and belt that covered her.
Thus Lord Shiva saw the woman, every part of whose body was beautifully formed, and the beautiful woman also looked at him. Therefore, thinking that she was attracted to him, Lord Shiva became very much attracted to her.
I mean, the Bhagavatam is still maintaining decency here. Right? Because it's saying, looking at the consent of the woman. Here, Lord Shiva didn't just go, right? Which you would see him follow the woman. But then his thought process was, oh, she's also seeing me. Okay, therefore, she has some attraction towards me. Whereas we see in the world that we live in, this attraction is so strong that like you just rush without understanding what the other person wants or doesn't want. But here, even in this bewilderment, Lord Shiva is like, okay, I see some signs. So therefore, it looks like she is also interested in me. Okay, next text.
Lord Shiva, his good senses taken away by the woman because of lusty desires to enjoy with her, became so mad for her that even in the presence of Bhavani, he did not hesitate to approach her.
The beautiful woman was already naked, and when she saw Lord Shiva coming toward her, she became extremely bashful. Thus she kept smiling, but she hid herself among the trees and did not stand in one place.
His senses being agitated, Lord Shiva, victimized by lusty desires, began to follow her, just as a lusty elephant follows a she-elephant.
After following her with great speed, Lord Shiva caught her by the braid of her hair and dragged her near him. Although she was unwilling, he embraced her with his arms.
See, this is the problem with lust, right? So the Gita says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangas Teshu Pajayate. That when our senses start contemplating on the object of the senses, and when we start doing this continuously, that desire that we have starts becoming attachment. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. But when this attachment happens and we're still contemplating, then this attachment turns into lust. So the difference, what's the difference between attachment and lust? Attachment means I'm attached to it, like I want it. But at the point of lust, I cannot be without having it. It becomes so strong that I'll do anything to get it. This is lust. And it's very difficult to pull us back if we get into this territory of lust. It's still easier to stop our contemplation at the point of desire and more difficult at the point of attachment. But when the attachment changes to lust, it's impossible. It's impossible for us to recover ourselves from it. And we can see it here. The woman was bashful, but Lord Shiva, overcome by lust, is dragging her. It's absolutely impossible for us to recover from there when Lord Shiva cannot do it. This is how powerful the lust is, right? And this is why Krishna says lust, anger and greed are 3 gates to hell. Okay, let's continue.
Being embraced by Lord Shiva like a female elephant embraced by a male, the woman whose hair was scattered swirled like a snake. O king, this woman who had large high hips was a woman of Yoga Maya presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She released herself somehow or other from the fond embrace of Lord Shiva's arms and ran away.
Yeah, the Bhagavatam gives us another hint also on how Lord Shiva can actually be bewildered, right? He is the controller of Durga. He is the husband of Durga, the master of Durga, which means he is beyond the 3 modes of material nature. But still he is bewildered. And the Bhagavatam tells here that what he was seeing was not the external potency of the Lord. The external potency of the Lord is called Mahamaya. Whereas what the Lord was displaying to him was his internal potency, because the Lord knew very well that Lord Shiva is not going to be bewildered by the external potency of the Lord. But Krishna's internal potency is so strong. And we can also see how even Lord Shiva cannot resist the internal potency of the Lord. And he was bewildered by the Yogamaya potency of the Lord. The Bhagavatam clarifies. Okay.
Text 31. As if harassed by an enemy in the form of lusty desires, Lord Shiva followed the path of Lord Vishnu, who acts very wonderfully and who had taken the form of Mohini.
Yeah. He's just running, right? She's trying to get away from him, and then he's so engrossed in this desire that he just cannot quit. He's running behind her.
Text 32. Just as a maddened bull elephant follows a female elephant who is able to conceive pregnancy, Lord Shiva followed the beautiful woman and discharged semen, even though his discharge of semen never goes in vain.
Next, we have to go till 34. Yeah.
Text 33. O king, wheresoever on the surface of the globe fell the semen of the great personality of Lord Shiva, mines of gold and silver later appeared.
This is something wonderful. But also we can see what the Bhagavatam warns us of, right? In the age of Kali, when Kali wanted to enter, Parikshit Maharaj didn't allow him to enter. But in the end, he gave him some space to reside. You can stay in these places. And those four places we know, which correspond to our 4 regulative principles, right? You could stay in a place where intoxication takes place, gambling takes place, meat eating takes place, and also illicit sex takes place. Did I cover that? Yeah. So, but apart from that, he gave an extra place, right? Which is where gold is stored. So you can see how it is also connected in the age of Kali to lust. This incredible desire to, gold prices increase every day ridiculously. When we were in India recently and we had to go and purchase gold, and it's like a fish market. It's incredible how many people are there, and then it's not like it's cheap. It's very, very expensive, gold nowadays. And still people's hankering for it, and you can see where it comes from. There is this connection there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But still it's considered very pure. This is what we read in the first canto, right? You remember when Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted to do the yajna after the war, and the coffers were empty, practically. In that period, at least, in that yuga, all the yajna, sacrifice, was done using gold paraphernalia, and once used, it was never reused. So then Krishna told Yudhishthira Maharaj that in Satya Yuga, actually there was a king who did lots of sacrifices, and he just piled up all his gold utensils there, so you can just go and pick up the mountains, and people never touched it. Think about Kali Yuga. If there were mountains of gold, what would happen? This was from Satya Yuga. The mountain still remained in Dwapara Yuga, mountain of gold. So this is the time that we live in. So this is the focus verse for today, 8:12:34. So please repeat the Sanskrit. Sarit sarashu saileshu vaneshu pavaneshu cha yatra kvachasan rishayas tatra sannihito hara. Sarit sarashu shaileshu vaneshu pavaneshu cha yatra kvachasan rishayas tatra sannihito hara. Please chant. Sarit sarasu shaileshu vaneshu pavaneshu cha yatra kvachasan rishayas tatra sannihito hara. Sarit sarashu saileshu vaneshu pavaneshu cha tatra kvachasan rishayas tatra sannihito hara. Sarit saharshu saileshu vaneshu pavaneshu cha yatra kvachasan rishayas tatra sannihito hara. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is the word for word translation. Sarit, near the shores of the rivers. Sarasu, and near the lakes. Shaileshu, near the mountains. Vaneshu, in the forests. Upavaneshu, in the gardens or small forests. Cha, also. Yatra, wherever. Kwa, anywhere. Cha, also. Asan, were exiting. Rishaya, great sages. Tatra, there. Sannihita, was present. Haraha, Lord Shiva. Translation. Following Mohini, Lord Shiva went everywhere, near the shores of the rivers and lakes, near the mountains, near the forests, near the gardens, and wherever there lived great sages. He didn't see where she was going, he was just following her all around. Right? And you'll see what Srila Prabhupada says. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Mohini Murti dragged Lord Shiva to so many places, especially to where the great sages lived, to instruct the sages that their Lord Shiva had become mad for a beautiful woman. Thus, although they were all great sages and saintly persons, they should not think themselves free, but should remain extremely cautious about beautiful women. No one should think himself liberated in the presence of a beautiful woman. It applies for a man also. The Shastras enjoin, Matra Swarasa Dhuritha va Naivi Viktashano Bhaved Bhalavan Indriya Gramo Vidvamsam Apikarshati. One should not stay in a solitary place with a woman, even if she be his mother, sister, or daughter. For the senses are so uncontrollably powerful that in the presence of a woman, one may become agitated, even if he is very learned and advanced. This is Bhagavatam 9, 19, 17. So, the Lord, when He takes incarnation, never does it never does it whimsically. Right? He had already taken the incarnation of Mohini Murti, and then that incarnation was so that He could bewilder the demons and give the nectar to the demigods. When asked by Shiva again, he took the incarnation, but then this time he took the incarnation to teach us, even great sages, the Bhagavatam says. He dragged him all the way, rivers, mountains, forests, and came to a place where all these great sages are there. And Lord Shiva is the topmost of everybody, right? Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. They're all meditating and thinking, oh, we are so, But then this is Krishna's lesson to them that, oh, don't be so confident. Don't be so confident that you can escape the clutches of Maya. And this was one of Srila Prabhupada's problems with his disciples, so to speak. Right? Actually, he had two. One, he said you had the tendency to change things. He said keep things as they are and then improve them. But the second thing he said was you don't have fear of Maya enough. You don't have fear of Maya enough. It's so strong that it can even capture Lord Shiva, what to speak of us. Yeah. Therefore, the Lord, as Mohini Murti, took Lord Shiva where the great sages were performing tapasya to show them that be careful. You just don't think you've surpassed unless you're liberated, Prabhupada says in the purport, which means you are in the platform of Uttam Adhikari. Unless you are in the platform of Uttam Adhikari, even at that time, you can still be captured. Not Uttam Adhikari, but we've seen Bharat Maharaj. They say he was in the platform of Bhava. Practically there, right? Almost there. Prema. So he knew his, in the stage of Bhava, you know your relationship with the Lord. It just has not matured yet, but you know everything that you need to know practically. But still, he fell down because of his attachment with the deer. So this is the material energy of the Lord. And Krishna says this is Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mamevaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. That this is a divine energy of mine, Krishna says. And it is incredibly hard to overcome. And the only way to overcome is Mamevaye Prapadyante. That you take shelter, surrender to me, Prapatti, Sharanagati, same words. This is Krishna's instruction in the Gita also. And the 6 limbs of Sharanagati or Prapatti start with 2 very simple things. Do you know what the 6 limbs of Sharanagati are? Yeah. Anukulyasya sankalpaha, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshashyatiti vishwasa, goptritve varnam tata, atmanikshepa and karpanya. These are the 6 limbs of Sharanagati. And the first 2 limbs of Sharanagati are Anukulyasya Sankalpaha, Pratikulyasya Varjanam. We accept what is favorable to Krishna consciousness and we reject what is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So even though we might be, or at least think we are very advanced, it's better to not tread places that could actually take us away from Krishna consciousness. That is pratikul, that's something that is not favorable to our Krishna consciousness. This is the fundamental principle of Sharanagati. And then things follow, right? Rakshishyati vishwasa. If we follow this, then Krishna will protect us. Right? If we follow the 4 regulative principles, pratikul, these are things that are not favorable for us. And anukul is chanting the names of the Lord, taking the association of the devotees, and things that are... Actually, Rupa Goswami goes in detail in his nectar of instruction. Right? What are the 6 things that can destroy bhakti and 6 things that can actually enhance our bhakti? If we are able to follow that, then Rakshishyatiti Vishwasa happens. Then Krishna will protect us. So, this is why specifically this sex desire is very, very, we should be very, very careful of. Because Prabhupada, like we read in the purport, says, this is what keeps this world running. And he quoted Rishabhadev, right? This is the famous verse, Pumshas triyamituni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya granti mahu ato griha kshetra sutapta vrittair janasya mohoyam maham mameti. This is how everything starts in this world, Rishabhadev says, is that the attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. If that is not there, material existence wouldn't exist. The basic principle in which material existence exists is the attraction between man and woman, male and female. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, Hridaya Granthi, slowly our hearts are knotted because of this attraction. One becomes attracted to this body, home, property, children, relatives, wealth. This basic principle starts expanding into all of these things. And in this way, one increases life's illusion and thinks in terms of I and mine. Me, my wife, my son, my house, my car, my property. So many things start as a result. But the basic principle is the attraction between man and a woman. Okay, in civilized societies, this gross attraction at least is not so explicit. Like how Lord Shiva was so attracted to Mohini Murti. You just don't run behind women, right? You're able to control it. But the purport that we read, Prabhupada said, this is actually reflected in three things: profit, adoration, and distinction. This is what is most difficult to overcome. Profit, meaning anything that I do, how can it profit me? This is the slogan, right, that they say in the corporate world. What is in it for me? And when I do something, I think about what is in it for me. This quality of profit. Any activity that I do, how can it profit me? And adoration. When I do something, will people appreciate me? Will people say, oh, or not just do, even if people see me, oh, this person is looking so nice. Anything in terms of adoration, it can be qualities or activities that we do, or appearances. We're looking forward to it. And distinction is that how are we distinct from others? Like separate, famous. Oh, this person can do this really well. Are we trying to do it? When we try to do this, what happens is, if it goes into the territory of lust, you will do anything to get these three things. You won't matter how you crush people around you. Nothing would matter. I somehow want profit, I somehow want adoration, I somehow want distinction. This is the nature of the world that we live in. This is Prabhupada says the basis of material existence. But how do we get out of this? This is where we are. This is our setting. This is our surrounding. And we have seen about a devotee who was there in this very opulent surrounding in the 7th canto. Who did we read about in the 7th canto? Prahlad Maharaj. His father was called Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya means Kashipu, soft bed. Clearly you can see what he was interested in. And he wanted his son to take this up. Right? He gave him all the avenues. In fact, he was forcing his son, why are you not taking this up? He was asking his teachers to teach him this. And when he sent him to the school, and then when he came back, Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, Prahlad, you must have learned so many things in school. What is the best of everything that you've learned in school? What is the best of all the knowledge that you've gathered in school? And what was Prahlad Maharaj's answer? This is a famous verse. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaran. He was delineating the Navavida Bhakti, 9 limbs of Bhakti, and saying this is the best of all the knowledge that I've gathered. So think about it, a person in the setting where he is among demons, who are sense gratifiers of the highest category. His father, nobody could beat him. This was the setting that Prahlad Maharaj was in. And it is a natural question that Hiranyakashipu asks, is that, how did you get this from? Like nothing around you actually teaches you any of this. You're not in such a setting where you can speak all of this. And he gets really, really upset and still doesn't doubt his son. He asks the teachers and says, what have you been teaching my son? And then the teachers are terrified and say, no, we have been trying to teach everything that you've asked us to teach in terms of how to, the economics and dharma, artha, like that. How can I gain more money, politics, This is all I've been trying to teach, but I don't know where he learned it from. And therefore Hiranyakashipu asks the question to Prahlad. It's a very nice sequence of answers that Prahlad Maharaj gives on how he got this. So this is 7.5.29. 7.5.29 is where Hiranyakashipu asks. Sri Narada Muni continued, when Hiranyakashipu received this reply from the teacher, he again addressed his son Prahlad. Teacher in the sense, we didn't teach him, it's your son who's saying all of this. Hiranyakashipu said, you rascal, most fallen of our family, if you have not received this education from your teachers, where have you gotten it? Ring any bells? If you go to Krishna consciousness, people in this society think, oh, you're so different. You're very fallen. You don't really do what we're trying to do. The whole world does something and you do something else. This was Hiranyakashipu's question to him. Where have you gotten it? And the next few verses give Prahlad Maharaj's answer. Prahlad Maharaj replied, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress towards hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. This is a famous verse. Punah punah sharvita charvananam. We keep chewing the chewed. Because of what? The main quality is uncontrolled senses. Because we don't control our senses, we get addicted to this materialistic way of life. Their inclination towards Krishna are never aroused, either by instruction of others, by their own effort, or by a combination of both. It's impossible. When you are in such a maddened state, right? The continuation of Krishna's cycle is sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodho bijayate. This lust turns anger. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibrama, smriti brimshat buddhi nasho. We lose all intelligence. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. So we lose all intelligence and we are put in illusion. Therefore we cannot see, even if people tell us by our own or by a combination of both, it's impossible for us to turn our inclinations towards Krishna. And this is the state of the environment that Prahlad Maharaj was in, right? He continues, persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted as their leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Vishnu. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. But here is where Prahlad Maharaj actually gives the answer to how he got it. Oh, this is how it is in world in general. People are attached to material activities and they are led by people who are attached to material activities and they can never figure out or get their inclinations towards Krishna. But he says, unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination, a Vaishnava who is completely freed from material contamination. Persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be freed from material contamination. This is the solution that Prahlad Maharaj gives on how we can overcome our attachment to material activities, is by smearing upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava who is completely freed from material contamination. There is no other way. There is absolutely no other way for us to get released from our material contamination. And what does it mean? One is directly smearing the dust, right? We take the dust from the lotus feet of Vaishnava and smear it upon our bodies. But smearing the dust also means following the instructions of a Vaishnava, at whose lotus feet we've taken shelter of. Unless we take shelter of a Vaishnava and follow the instructions of a Vaishnava, it is impossible for us to be freed from material contamination. And this is the question that Rupa Goswami, this is the conversation that Rupa Goswami mentions in his first verse in the Nectar of Instruction. The first verse is what? What does it talk about? The first verse of the Nectar of Instruction? Yeah, controlling senses. Vacho Vegam. We have 6 urges, Rupa Goswami says. Vacho Vegam, the urge to speak. Manasa Krodha Vegam, the urge of the mind and anger. Jihva Vegam, urge of the tongue. Udra Upastha Vegam, urge of the belly and the genitals. And Etan Vegan Yo Vishaheta Dhira, one who has controlled all these 6 urges, sarvam api mam prithvim sasishyat, that he can take disciples all over the world. But how do we control these sense urges is the question, right? And Prabhupada quotes the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami from the beginning of the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. What has happened in the end of the 5th canto in the Srimad Bhagavatam? What is described in the end of the 5th canto? Creation, specifically the hellish planets, right? It's not just creation, but it goes into detail about the hellish planets. And then Parikshit Maharaj has this question, is that people are suffering so much, they go into these hellish planets, they're incredible suffering, but why do they continue to do what they're doing? They know that they're going to suffer. And Shukdev Goswami gives several answers, but Parikshit Maharaj is still not satisfied, right? Because you know that it is wrong, and Prabhupada says the thief knows that if you steal, you're going to go to the jail, but still he comes out of the jail and steals. What is it that is causing him to steal? Like the elephant takes a bath, comes out and puts sand all over its body. What is it that causes it to do it? Exactly. The material desire has not been completely vanquished. Therefore, the desire is still there. And when the desire is still there, it has to come out. Because we're contemplating on the desire. So it has to come out. So the actual way to completely get purified is to remove those material desires altogether. Right? And the only way to do it is through devotional service. There is nothing else that can actually take away material desires at the root. This is what Rupa Goswami says, is Sat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Avidya Pittopa Tapta Rasanasya Narochikano Kintwadvarat Anudinam Kaluseva Jasta Swadvit Kramat Bhavati Tadgata Mula Hantri. Mula means root, Hantri means kill. It kills it at the root. All these material desires. What kills it at the root? Sat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapi Avidya. This avidya, this ignorance that we have of our desire for material attachment and gratification is removed only by chanting the name, form, activities, pastimes of the Lord. And he gives the example of this avidya is compared to that of a jaundice disease, and the cure is given as that of a sugar candy. The names, forms, activities, pastimes of the Lord are as sweet as sugar, but a person who has jaundice cannot taste it. It tastes bitter for him. Although the candy is sugar and it's sweet, the person who has jaundice tastes it as bitter. But the medicine is that we keep taking sugar candy when you have jaundice, and eventually the jaundice goes away and you can taste the sweetness of the sugar candy. Similarly, our avidya, or our ignorance of this feeling of aham mameti, me and mine, and this attraction that we have in this world slowly starts fading away once we hear, chant the names, forms, activities, pastimes of the Lord. And then this material affliction is taken out at the root. This is why bhakti is powerful. This is why Krishna says, Apichet suduracharo bhajate ma mananyabhak. This is Lord Shiva. Do you think this is abominable, what was happening? But Krishna says, Sadhureva samantavya. You should still consider him a saint, because he's fixed in bhakti. Shipram bhavati dharmatma, he says. Immediately he'll come, because although he's done abominable activities, if he continues to follow in the path of bhakti, which we will see later how Shiva reacts to this situation. It's very embarrassing, right? Your wife is there, your associates are there. The entire world is seeing it. And we'll see what Shiva's reaction to it is. But there is nothing other than devotional service that can actually help us out of this. So these are some of the thoughts. So if there are any questions, comments. Yes, I saw you first, so after then you can.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was very nicely presented, considering the way translation and purports were very in-depth class. My question is, I think you also ended the class that whoever glorifies the name, forms, pastimes and qualities of the Lord, only they can overcome material energy and any kind of material desires. But Lord Shiva is our topmost example, where he always meditates on the Lord, he always glorifies the Lord. And time and again, every Bhagavatam class we say the solution is only devotional service to get out of this. And he always does devotional service. But seems like devotional service didn't work because Lord Shiva got attracted to material energy. How do we reconcile with this fact? And another way I was thinking, it could be that Lord Shiva and Krishna maybe are trying to, are enacting a pastime to show us so material energy is so powerful.
Yeah.
But I was thinking it could have been otherwise. They could have enacted a pastime and show that, see, Lord Shiva is so determined and fixed up in his devotional service that he was able to overcome Mama Maya Duratyaya. He was
Yeah.
able to overcome.
Yeah.
You understand the 3 points?
Yes,
Prabhu?
yes, I do. But this is the clarification that the Bhagavatam gave, right? That Lord Shiva was not overcome by his material energy. This was Krishna's internal potency that was bewildering to Krishna, bewildering to Lord Shiva. And we know from this what the position of Lord Shiva is. Right? Shiva is still subservient to Lord Vishnu, and therefore Lord Vishnu can bewilder Lord Shiva. And another thing that we can also see is, even if you are spiritually advanced, better not to tread your curiosity into situations that can put you in trouble. Right? He really wanted to see Mohini Murti, and the Lord said, hey, these were demons were bewildered by it. It's a beautiful form. He was smiling gravely at him. He tried to give him hints, saying, hey, do you really want to get there? And I think in the 12th canto we'll see about Markandeya Rishi also. Right? He wanted to see the illusory potency of the Lord. And for billions of years he was suffering. Right? Even if you're really spiritually advanced, you better be careful, is what I got from this. That you can be Lord Shiva, but is it really necessary for you to get into such situations? That's one thing. And the other thing is definitely that it was not the external potency of the Lord. We see that in Haridas Thakur, right? If it was the external potency of the Lord, this was Mahamaya coming and sitting in front of Haridas Thakur, trying to entice him. But his bhakti was so strong that it couldn't sway him. Lord Shiva is, we say, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambho. Right? So, the material energy cannot, and the Lord gives him a benediction also in the next section that you will never be bewildered. But this was Krishna's internal potency that he was attracted to.
As jivas, we won't be perturbed by, Lord won't test us with his internal potency, right? Only with...
No. Actually, Krishna knows what we can take and what we cannot take. Krishna will never break us. Lord Shiva can take this. Lord Shiva is so strong that he can take this. But Krishna knows that he'll never do anything that will take us away from devotional service. This I can say. He might put us in ridiculous positions to correct some things that he wants us to correct, but never go to an extent where he'll completely take us away from devotional service. Right? Because we have taken shelter of him. If we have really, again, Krishna says, have you really taken shelter of me? Or is it just a show? If you really taken shelter, Krishna takes care. Krishna definitely takes care. So that, or else there is no hope. Right? The person who you take shelter of doesn't really care about you. Then what's the point of Sharanagati in the first place? So it defeats the purpose. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for a very nice class. Welcome back. And,
Thank you.
Here we're seeing, for someone like me, my problem is not like I'm not attracted to Krishna's external energy. We're so caught up in just the external energy, and we're trying to get attracted to Krishna's internal energy.
Yeah.
And so in this example, Lord Shiva is getting attracted to Krishna's internal energy.
Yes.
So what is wrong with that, in a sense? Because, any incarnation of Krishna, if we have an inclination for it,
Yes.
we are encouraged to...
Correct.
So just like, even if, in the example of the battlefield, that Yudhishthir did not want to speak a truth.
Yes.
But he was like, no, if Krishna is saying, do it.
Yes.
Because right or wrong is not to be considered, because Krishna is saying, you do it.
Yeah.
So if Shiva is attracted to Krishna's form, wonderful. He's not
Yes.
attracted to anybody else. He's just attracted to Krishna, however he comes to him. So from our standpoint, it's wonderful. Like,
Actually, there is a problem. Because you're attracted to Krishna, that's okay. But how are you attracted to Krishna? This is Rupa Goswami's definition of Uttama Bhakti, right? Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyeta krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruttama. One, it has to be Anya bilasha. The way that Lord Shiva was attracted was not for Anya bilasha. He had all the desires that he wanted to fulfill, even though he was attracted by Mohini Murti. It was not because of pure devotion that he was attracted to Mohini Murti and saying, how can I serve you? He wanted to be served by the Lord, right? And it was not anukul. It has to be anukul. Anukulyena krishnanushilanam. We have to serve Krishna in an anukul manner. This is why this is problematic. We can get attracted to Krishna, but it can be for our own desire. That's still fine. Krishna will purify it. And this is why Krishna says the 4 kinds of devotees who come to him are still pious people. Right? I come for my own desire, but I come to you, Krishna. It is much better than going anywhere else. But that is not considered pure devotional service. I'm still going for my own sense gratification, which was the case here with Lord Shiva. He was running after her, chasing her when she didn't want to be bound, right? Trying to capture her. So this is the problem.
Thank you. That was a beautiful point.
Yeah.
Also, like when you're saying that, I'm thinking, okay, when we're serving our Guru Maharaj or devotees, how we serve
exactly
is important.
Exactly. The Labh, Man and Pratishtha, these are subtle things, right? Will the spiritual master see me? Does he recognize me? Right? These are things like, will my God brothers? I mean, so many things that come up. It doesn't matter in the association of your own spirit, in the association of devotees, right? My service, did I do like, what did people tell about me doing the Aarti? Doing it for Krishna, doing it for Kalachandji, but then expecting and being so conscious that people will see me do it. No, people are not seeing you. There's somebody more beautiful than you there on the altar. So we have all these tendencies, right, which are very difficult to overcome. And Bhakti eventually will take us out of this. But we have to recognize this at least. Right? The first step in any recovery is recognizing we have a problem. If we don't even recognize we have a problem, then how will you fix the problem? Anything else? Yes, Mr. Bhagwan.
Talking about the attraction between male and female as a principle of material existence gives sort of kind of a negative incarnation, connotation.
Yeah.
Prabhupada's books are full of men and women being attracted to each other. Arjuna, when he saw Subhadra, and he found her to be very beautiful, and then they got married. King Yayati, when he saw Devyani in the well, he was attracted to her youthful beauty, so it seemed like a natural thing.
Yeah.
And then there is Pradyumna and Usha. Pradyumna was considered, the kind of man that any woman would have feelings for, and then he was attracted to Usha, and he was Banasar's daughter, so he had to come in through the back door. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur had 2 wives. The whole Panchatattva, most of them were married.
Yeah.
So why is it seem like they act like if men and women are attracted to each other, that's a bad thing, a principle of material existence?
Yeah. The principle is, because we are attracted to each other, we try to exploit each other. I'm attracted to you because I think I can get something from you, right? And this is what binds us, because we're doing, this attraction is there because how can I become happy by this attraction? But in Krishna consciousness, we use the same thing in the service of Krishna. This is the definition of bhakti, right? Sarvo padi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. We have these senses, and we don't say, stop using your senses. This is the philosophy of neti neti. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. But Krishna consciousness is, okay, I have the senses, how can I use it in the service of Krishna? Okay, I have this attraction to a woman, that's fine, get married, have nice Krishna conscious children, and then go through Grihastha Ashrama. Instead of running behind women and having illicit sex. Right? You recognize what you have, and then somehow dovetail it into Krishna consciousness so that attachment gets purified. This is the idea of Krishna consciousness. The idea of Krishna consciousness is not to reject our senses, saying, oh, this is bad, I won't use it. We have the tendency to eat, why not eat Krishna Prasad? That's basically what it is. But if we do it for ourselves, that's what it means. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Me and myself, when I use these senses for me and myself, that's where the problem is, and that's where we get bound. But when we use these senses in the service of Krishna, that actually purifies us. So that's some of. Okay, anything else? We are way over time. If not, we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
प्रेम रतन धन ভজিয়া মাইনু আমি গোরা পহ না ভজিয়া মইনু আমি গোরা পহ না ভজিয়া মইনু প্রেম মনসু গোরা পহ না ভজিয়া